Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to Green Pass Gaming. I am Pux, and today the three of us on the panel are going to discuss the Nintendo E3 Direct Showcase, which we've been excited to do for quite a while. We was originally going to do this Tuesday evening after the original broadcast, but unfortunately, real life and work has tied us all up over the last couple of days, and it hasn't been until this evening when we're all free to actually discuss some stuff. And some of the eagle-eyed amongst you watching live now or maybe in the future after the show may notice that we are once again back to StreamYard. So I guess a small announcement here. We, GPG, are planning on returning back to StreamYard as opposed to using OBS. Main reasons being, as much as we liked OBS, we've realised that there is a bit of a bottleneck on the occasions where Flap is unable to attend certain shows because the three of us don't necessarily have the same setups to very quickly and easily replicate the same stream. So we've realised that StreamYard is the way for us to all to go in order to maintain maintain consistency in each of our streams. And we also have some future plans to enable various of the GPG crew to do our own shows. So you may some point in the future see some midweek shows just featuring maybe Flap or myself, Scott and Luke together perhaps, or a very myriad of combinations thereof, depending on what the topic is. So expect more to come in the future. But with that, thank you all for joining once again, and I'll quickly go through the panel. You know who we all are, though, but I'll start from the top. Scott, good evening, SX2 Scott. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good evening.
Evening, Pucks. Yeah, all the better for being here with you two as well, mate. Looking forward to chatting a bit Nintendo. I know we're always keen to bring a bit more Nintendo to the channel, so really looking forward to tonight. And well, mate, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear. Now I'm really looking forward to talking about this as well. And last but definitely not least, Luke. I know you've been off today, ready to holiday away in the very short few days to come. But how have you been?
Yeah, been very well, thanks. Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to watching this again. Actually, so I only caught it once, at the time. So it'll be good to see it again and have another look at some of the good stuff that they showed off.
Definitely. Unless there's nothing else that I've forgotten on the intros, I'm ready to jump straight in. So I guess we'll discuss each thing as they come up. And panel, by all means, feel free to chip in with any information or any words of wisdom as it comes, and let's enjoy the show. And with that, I believe the first thing, correct me if I'm wrong, is the reveal of the next Smash character as part of the Fighters Pass 2.
Yeah, do you guys play much Smash out of interest?
I definitely did way back in the day, and I did when the game first came out, but I have to admit, I've not touched it nowhere near as much in probably over a year now.
Yeah, I jump in from time to time. Did play it a lot when it came out, but not so much the last kind of 6 months or so. But I still really enjoy these. I think they're super cool, and it's just constant content for the game. I always love the trailers as well. I just think they're very creative. And
they're very well done.
Very funny.
Yeah. Some of the best trailers that they do. We'll probably get to it, but the very ending of this is pretty fun as well. It is one of those games that I wish I played more of, but honestly, Nintendo's online services are kind of the main reason I don't. It's a game you want to play with friends, and unfortunately, Nintendo's online functionality is, well, to be frank, a bit shit. To the point where I actually don't have it anymore. I stopped paying for it because even at £20 a year, I didn't think it was actually worth it, unless obviously you're really into sort of the classic stuff that they do. But it's kind of the one thing that I think really lets me down about the Switch is just the online functionality. Not having any sort of party chat, relying on phone, just isn't a particularly good experience. So I don't get to play this anywhere near as much as I would like to.
Now, I get what you mean there. I mean, regarding online, I definitely agree that the online services could be a lot better. I think one of the main games I did play online a while back was mainly Mario Kart, actually. I quite like playing that a bit, competitively, quote unquote, so to speak. Regarding the service, I think the one thing I do like about the Switch Online service is the family tier. So it's a bit more expensive, I think £32 a month, but you can have up to 8 people from various places all share. So that's what I've done, and I think I've got a number of family members and friends So all the slots are gone, unfortunately, for anyone else potentially listening. But I think between us, we only pay about, I think it's like £6 each over the course of a year.
Yeah.
So it's good value.
I did do that with friends, but then because they didn't use it, they stopped using it. So then I was kind of paying for a family plan for myself. So yeah. But this trailer is great. I love these bits where he sort of defeats each one and then just throws them.
Yeah. What do we all think about seeing a Tekken character being on the reveal? It's one of those things that kind of seems obvious, right? But only until you see it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I did think at the time I'm surprised they didn't do it sooner, because it is, as you say, it's quite obvious that you'd probably have a character from another fighting game, and they've done it before with Street Fighter and others.
Yeah.
Tekken, it's not. I guess it's not quite got the lineage on Nintendo platforms. Really, it's more of a classically a PlayStation allied thing. Yeah. Although there are lots of things like that in Smash, that are allied to other platforms. Obviously, that's the whole point. But yeah, I was surprised it was Kazuya. I thought it might be maybe Hayashi or someone like that. Just I don't know. It's still super cool, but I mean, it's just interesting their choice of character. I think more than anything, because there are so many good Tekken characters. So many, King, for example, would have been a really
iconic,
cool, quite iconic character. So yeah, but it's a super cool thing.
As you say as well, Scott, I like the dropping Kirby at the end. Just a little bit of Nintendo fun there.
Yeah, they're really good with what they do. Like when they announced Sephiroth and sort of he quote unquote stabbed Mario, was pretty fun. So yeah, those trailers are always just a really fun watch. Even if you don't like the characters or not familiar with the characters, it's always fun to see. And honestly, the best thing about this is the character that just doesn't have a sword. I know that's a bit of a meme, but it's kind of true. It's not like another anime style fighter. So yeah, I think they've got one fighter left in the fighter pass, haven't they? I think yet to announce. So any guesses on who that might be?
Oh, it's really hard to judge it now. Like it's almost impossible to say because some of them just come out so left field. And I think I don't know. Like I hope like one day they bring like Doom Guy to it. I just think that would just be so funny and different and quirky, and also it has somewhat connective tissue now with Nintendo, given that Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 are on the platform. So
that would be cool.
But I just doubt it because it's quite mature. Even though you don't have to make it mature for the game, but I'm not sure. It's really hard to judge.
I've always said I'd love to see Master Chief in Smash. I always thought that'll be cool. Obviously, we had not Master Chief, but we had a Spartan in Dead or Alive. I don't know if you remember back in the 360 days, Dead or Alive 3 or 4.
No, I can't remember
which. Yeah, so there was a Spartan in the Xbox version of Dead or Alive, which was cool. But another one that I thought would be interesting that might be able to get work is something like Ori, especially with some of the new moves from Will of the Wisps, maybe the bow and things like that, and the hammer move. That would be cool. And obviously those both games are both on Switch. So
yeah.
So this next one is Life is Strange True Colors, I believe it's called. Are we any Life is Strange fans here on the panel and on chat?
Not with me, which is weird because it's kind of the game I'd really love, because I do love these style of games. But I've just never got around to playing them. I guess I've just never sat down and actually played them, and the saturation of it has become so much now. I'm kind of just like, well, I may just leave it for another few years and play them on my own time. I mean, great for people who are big fans of this. To be able to have it on the Switch as well, it's cool.
Yeah, I've never been much of a big fan of these types of games, unfortunately. But I despite all the good things I hear about it, it just doesn't really interest me that much, if I'm perfectly honest. But
I think that's fair. I mean, the main thing is, it's kind of like a big, I guess, third-party game coming to the Switch, if anything. I did really like Tell Me Why, the Xbox game that's obviously in a similar style. and I did like, was it Captain something? Like the free thing that they put out that was sort of set in the same universe. I can't remember its name.
Yeah,
I did enjoy that as well, but I never played it. Actually, so this is interesting, guys. I do want to ask, I've got a quick question for you both on this. So this was revealed after the fact. I don't know if it was revealed during. It might have been sort of in some text at the bottom. Obviously, this is just going to be a cloud version.
Is it?
Game. Which they've done with a few games like Hitman.
It was actually there right at the beginning. It says, which is, I clocked it almost instantly. It said something to the effect of, it's optimal performance. With certain internet connections, etc. So I was like, that's a cloud version.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I know obviously we've got Worms Rumble here, but it is one of those things where I kind of wonder, I wonder how, I don't know, something didn't sit right with me with them showing essentially the PC version of a game running on a Switch via the cloud. Made us know, I don't know. I think it's a little bit weird. So,
did you guys try Control when that demo came out as a cloud streaming game on Switch?
No, I can't say I did.
Because I did at the time, and it ran surprisingly well in handheld mode, especially, believe it or not. Good quality picture and decent, very low latency on the controls. But
that's a big surprise if it's the Nintendo Online service running.
Yeah, it took me by surprise. That's why I'm praising it.
I don't know if we can maybe rewind maybe about a minute or so.
Sorry.
Unless anybody really wants to talk about Worms Rumble.
No, so this is Astria sending a bit of clip from this.
Yeah, this was revealed at the ID at Xbox event earlier this year, and I think this looks super, super cool. I love the art style that they've introduced. I think this might be coming to Game Pass, if I remember rightly. I may be mistaken there.
I think you're right,
yeah, but I thought this looked fantastic. I think there was some new bits and pieces that they showed in that trailer as well that we hadn't seen before. But looking forward to that.
2 Point Campus. I know we've seen this already, but it's nice to know it's coming to Switch, I guess, if you like these games.
Yeah.
I'm on a similar feel. I was trying to be positive, but
I'll be getting this because my missus loves these types of games. To be fair, like Theme Hospital, I used to love that when I was a kid. And 2 Point Hospital was sort of a throwback to that. And my girlfriend liked that as well. So it's probably, it's likely I'll end up picking that up.
Yeah, I think for me, apart from the theme park games, I think that's all I liked. That's all I've really liked in the genre. Oh, but this next game, I was really happy to see. I know it was in the rumor mill, but I was really happy to see this. I love these types of games. Any guesses if you remember what it is?
I think I saw it when it snuck ahead of it. So.
Yeah, I do. I was quite excited for this because I also quite enjoy these.
Really good arcade fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just it's kind of one of those nice pick up and play games that you can just kind of not relax to, but it doesn't require much thinking, which is sometimes all you want from a game. Just pick it up, play a few rounds, play a few courses. Off you go.
I know we said in the past on previous shows about how we probably have a bit of open world saturation at the moment, so it's quite nice, as you say, to have a game like this you can just pick up and play for a couple of minutes or maybe an hour and put it back down again. There's no rush.
Yeah, exactly.
And I assume this will have sort of gyro controls in handheld mode as well.
No doubt.
Which I genuinely dislike motion controls in pretty much any game, with the exception of a game like this, where sort of you're using the gyro to manipulate because you're manipulating the level rather than the character, aren't you, with the gyro, I believe. Yeah. So, it looks cool. And been a long time since I played Super Monkey Ball.
And this was a big surprise as well, wasn't it? Like an actual follow-up to Mario Party and Mario Party Superstars, because I know they had the 3DS version, which basically did the same thing, well, a very similar thing, but without much of the board games, if I remember correctly. But to actually have N64 boards updated with a load of mini games from a selection of different titles, I think this is a really interesting package, and full online support as well.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing about this puck. So they've only recently added better online support to. I mean, you got to remember, Mario Party only came out on the Switch a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. Wasn't too long ago. It might have been 2019. So this is kind of another game already, but I think kind of the full online support only came to that version of Mario Party very recently, like in the past couple of months.
Not even that. I think it was like barely a month ago. I think.
And that's the main reason I didn't pick up the game originally, because like this is, again, it's a game you want to play with friends. We're in the middle of a pandemic. You can't have friends over, and I was really, really disappointed they didn't incorporate that online functionality from launch. So it's really good to see that this has it, and I'll probably pick it up for that reason, which I didn't for the original one. So,
how about yourself, Luke? You a big Mario Party fan?
No,
not
really. No,
that surprised me. I thought you would be.
Yeah, no. I mean, well, I say that. Anyone that I've ever played, I've enjoyed, but I never have a desire to go and actually buy them.
Yeah.
So I think if I actually took the plunge and bought it, then I probably would play it and probably enjoy it. But as you say, it's a kind of difficult game to play these days, like just with the circumstances of the world. It's like a difficult, because it's best with people, and if people aren't there, there's really no point to it. I wouldn't think. So yeah, I do enjoy it, but I've never actually gone out and bought one.
Yeah, and again, coming back to sort of Nintendo's online features, without sort of inbuilt party chat and things like that, it does make it more difficult. So whenever me and my friends play, I've got like one earphone in with Discord on my phone, but then the TV audio is coming out, but because I don't play in handheld mode, because I hate playing the bloody thing in handheld mode. But then there's no like real easy way to get like audio. Well, to be fair, I can now. My SteelSeries headset will work on Switch, but I haven't actually tried playing online. So I think So Luke hasn't sounded too excited.
Let's jump into it. Go on, then.
So I think we'll let Luke have this one.
This is just. I mean, this is right up there for game of the show of all.
I can feel your excitement already. This game is absolutely fantastic to see.
Yeah. So I mean, any Metroid generally, I'm excited for, and I knew that we wouldn't get Metroid Prime 4 here because it was rebooted not that long ago, really, and obviously it's going to be a while before that's ready to show. So I knew that there were rumblings of a 2D Metroid game beforehand, made by Mercury Steam, who made Samus Returns. So when this was shown, it was kind of instantly, first of all, it's real. But what's more interesting about this, I think, is that this is Metroid Dread, which has such an incredible development history. This game essentially started out as a Game Boy Advance title back in the early 2000s and was reiterated on and cancelled and left, and they just had all sorts of issues with it. There were all sorts of issues with development, and clearly a couple of years ago they just thought, well, we need a 2D Metroid. It's a good time to do it. The tools are there. Mercury Steam have proven themselves to be able to make a great 2D Metroid, which, albeit it was essentially a remake, but still. And then they've produced this, and it just looks fantastic. It looks so good. I've been trawling the internet for 2 days trying to get the collector's edition and the amiibo. No luck so far.
You can't pre-order it. You haven't been able to.
No, they're going so quickly, and unlike the main, like Amazon UK don't have it at the moment. I think they probably will at some point, but so it just looks fantastic, and I love the idea of the dread element of it. So the enemy that you see at the beginning, that's called Emmy essentially, and it's kind of harkens back to a Mr. X in Resident Evil and Nemesis, in that it can track you through rooms. You can't destroy it with normal weaponry, and it gives off this super isolating, desperate vibe where you are not the kind of apex predator in this environment. And I love when games do that. And for Metroid to do that just makes so much sense, because Samus is, a badass, but she's not infallible or invincible. And this is the game where it turns it on its head. So everything about this just looks brilliant. It just looks so well done. And I'm so happy that they're making one. And the Switch is perfect for it. And I've said probably way too much, but someone else.
No, not at all. I share all of those sentiments with you, man. I'm really looking forward to this game. I was super hyped to see it, because Metroid, I think, arguably is quite a niche, even though it has obviously created the whole Metroidvania as a gaming genre now. But obviously, this is where it all started, and it's just so great to see Samus again, because it is a niche game, but it does have a massive cult following. So it's great to see they've actually released this or shown it off.
Yep.
How about yourself, Scott, before I move on? Are you a big fan of Metroid?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think what I commented on this sort of after the show, or maybe during the show. So I didn't catch this live, unfortunately. I did see the announcements sort of as they happened on Twitter, and then I watched the show after the fact. And when I first read the announcement, obviously there was a hell of a lot of excitement. And I kind of just read it like, oh, okay. It didn't really hit me too much, but I've got more of an affinity towards the Prime series rather than sort of the 2D versions. I genuinely cannot remember the last time I played a 2D Metroid. It probably was the one on the GBA. If there was, it was probably
Fusion,
probably
I believe.
that. I know they even mentioned it during the trailer. This is the first new entry in the series in 19 years, I think they mentioned. So it didn't, the just reading the announcement didn't really do much for me at the time, I'll be completely honest with you. But then when I watched the live show back and I saw the footage both in this trailer and then also in the Treehouse after the fact, it got me pretty excited. It does really look fantastic. It does. So I'm excited, essentially from my perspective, to sort of discover this game or this series properly for the first time in so long. It's going to be like playing an entirely new game and almost genre in some respects for me. So that's pretty exciting. So
I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's kind of done in such a way so that old fans are pleasantly appeased with the new game, but then it also introduces the series to new people. And what I find interesting, a lot of people are saying, how is this the first one in 19 years? Because we had the 3DS one, but then no, that's technically not true because the 3DS one is just a remake of Samus 2.
Yeah.
So I think people got really confused by that. But
yeah,
and it's coming out 10th of October as well. So it's a lot of good stuff coming out this year on Switch.
Yeah. Was that the 10th of August or the 8th of October?
8th of October.
Sorry, 8th of October.
Silly Americans.
Yeah. Who puts
I'm playing the American version, sorry.
Yeah, but it looked great. And if you haven't seen it, Luke pointed out, I think on Tuesday, they did play this on the Treehouse, and I think looked even better there, possibly.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Oh man, that amiibo.
And the amiibo looks so good. Yeah.
I don't have any amiibos, to be perfectly honest. Some of them do look cool as hell, but it's just like, because I just can't justify it, I don't think. But it's kind of one of those things that I wish I had.
I'm in that camp, I will add, by the way, that I love amiibo. I always think they look great, as you just said, but I just can't justify minimum like 10 quid a piece.
Yeah.
I wish I could, but...
Not maybe to sound too much negative on it, assuming we don't want to talk about Just Dance. I don't like how, in some games, how things are kind of locked behind amiibo. I know Nintendo have done some pretty not the best thing. That's kind of locked behind having an amiibo, which isn't great. But from what I've read, I think the stuff for Metroid, I think it's not too bad at all. I think you maybe get some extra missiles or something.
I believe for Samus, it's like a 10 HP upgrade or something, and then with the ME one, I think you get the missile attachment early or something, and then every subsequent day after that you get like 10 rockets refilled or something, so it's nothing major.
I had an early infatuation with amiibos. I have a shelf behind me with miscellaneous ones on, but
nice.
I'm not like a hardcore collector, but I will get the ones that are just like rarer / super cool to me, and that one falls squarely into the latter. So I will try before the horrible scalpers get in there to get one.
You guys strike me as big Dragon Ball fans. Am I right there or not?
I think Scott probably is. I'm actually not a huge Dragon Ball fan.
Right.
I never watched it when I grew up, which I think is how most people of our age really got into Dragon Ball is watching the anime as they grew up, which wasn't the case for me.
So my avatar is actually based off Goku's gi from Dragon Ball. It's a green version of it. I do actually have an orange version that was kindly made by Sean Labrie, who's a fabulous artist. Because I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball. I played Dragon Ball Kakarot recently as well. So it's good to see this coming to the Switch. It includes all the DLC, which I've not actually played on Xbox just yet. I actually play one mobile game in my life, and it's called Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. And I'm currently at 1,300 days logged in on that game.
Wow.
Believe it or not. So I'm a huge fan of Dragon Ball. It's one of the few anime that I will still watch, mainly due to it's purely nostalgia. I could talk about Dragon Ball for days, so I'm not touching too much, but this is cool to see.
It's weird because like I'm a big anime and manga fan, but I just never got into, like, when I was younger I wasn't really into it, and then as I got older I got much more into anime and manga, to the point where I have like Crunchyroll and watch all sorts of stuff and blah blah blah. But yeah, it's still not Dragon Ball, even though it's super cool and I'd probably enjoy it. But it's I always like, what was the fight? Dragon Ball Fighter Z, right? That was the fighting game, the 2D. That was awesome.
Amazing game. That's one, probably my favorite fighter ever. Like my favorite fighting game ever. It's such a cool game. It captures the look of the anime to perfection. And some of the stuff that they've done with like characters and super attacks and things like that is fantastic. I still play that from time to time now with friends. It's super good. It's kind of like I hope they do another one, but at the same time, it's like I'm not too sure what else they can do because they've continued to release characters for it, which is great. So like I said, this is good to see come to the Switch. I think, like I say, it comes with all the DLC. I think they've announced that there's going to be 2 new playable characters in it, so it's going to be great. Because this is probably, outside of Fighters, is probably the best Dragon Ball game that they've made for a long time. And I've played a hell of a lot of Dragon Ball games going all the way back to the NES that I've played when I was a kid through emulation and stuff in Japanese. And I was trying to just I was just button mashing through fan translations and stuff like that. It is super cool.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say I think I'm going to Luke on this one. I liked Dragon Ball as a kid, but so I've been watching anime as well for about 10 odd years now. I watch all sorts, but yeah, I'm similar now. Dragon Ball I've got friends that, like yourself, Scott, absolutely love Dragon Ball even now, but I don't know. I just can't get into it anymore. I think it's just a childhood thing for me, but that's all it is, unfortunately.
I probably wouldn't if I didn't have that nostalgia thing for it, but like nostalgia is a pretty powerful thing, isn't it? But Luke, I know you like sort of amiibos. Dragon Ball has some pretty cool figures as well. So
yes, it does. Has some pretty cool statues as well, which I've been tempted by a lot. So.
Anyone interested in Mario Golf?
I'm actually oddly quite interested, but I'll wait and see what the reception's like to it.
Yeah, I was like that with Mario Tennis. I really liked the demo. Yes. Got myself to a point I was like, I might buy this. Didn't buy it, and then as I kind of suspected, the hype subsided, and I wasn't too fussed about it in the end.
Yeah, not to sort of beat the Nintendo Online drum again.
Here he goes again. Yeah,
it's another one of those things, isn't it? It's a social game. It's a game you want to play with friends. So kind of again, just the lack of Nintendo's online features really does kind of make me second guess it, because I'm not going to play this by myself. But it does look like a cool game to play with friends. I do like some of the stuff that they've done with kind of like the free player mode, where you're not just playing golf. You kind of running, and it's almost a race as much as anything. But again, those sorts of modes really require to be playing with friends. And
but did you guys did you hear that mode, the 4-player rush mode, is only 2-player when playing locally? Have you heard this?
Okay.
Oh no, I didn't realize that.
Which kind of makes it a bit worse in a way, because now you can't have 4 people playing on one system, which sucks a bit.
Yeah, but I guess that's a shame. So I guess it's 2 local, 4 online. I'm assuming.
Yes, I believe that's the case.
Yeah. So it is a game I might end up picking up. It'll be basically a case of, do my friends pick it up? If so, I'll probably get it because it'll be cool to play with friends. But if not, then unfortunately I might not.
Are you guys Monster Hunter fans? Is this kind of the game that I maybe should like, but I just never really have given it a chance?
Yeah, Monster Hunter fan, but this is different. This is kind of a weird... I don't even know how to describe this. So it's like not a mainline Monster Hunter. You don't really do the kind of normal Monster Hunter things in this game.
Yeah. It's not even like a secondary game, like Monster Hunter Rise, for example. No.
It's more like a RPG, like a classic RPG, ish. I mean, it's really weird. So this doesn't really interest me because I wouldn't play a Monster Hunter game for anything other than monster hunting, like proper monster hunting. Right. So you know, it just normally like the spin-off games that might be a different, not necessarily a different genre, but spins on the formula would interest me. But this one's for Monster Hunter, like I don't want that. Do you know what I mean? Like Gears, for example, if you're playing Gears of War, Gears Tactics would probably be very interesting because it's still story based, and if you like tactics games, then it makes sense to play and it kind of fits within the genre. But that's because Gears, I mean, it's just kind of an action game, right? So that's kind of it. Monster Hunter is a really specific formula. It's a very unique thing. So I don't really want something that's not that, because then why am I playing a Monster Hunter game? I could just play any other like good RPG. So yeah, not for me. This was a good announcement, though.
Now, this is probably one of my favourites that I saw. I'm going to start playing it now. But I love the WarioWare games. I've loved pretty much most of them that I've played, or all of them. The first one I probably played was the original DS version.
Yeah.
Was there because there was a GBA one, wasn't there? I believe.
So,
So
the DS one was obviously using the touchscreen and stuff was fantastic. This is probably outside of obviously the ending, which we'll obviously get to, which is fairly obvious. This was probably sort of next in terms of my favorite thing that I saw.
Yeah, it's
I really like that the characters look 2D, but they're actually 3D as well, and how they all interact with the mini games. I thought that was a really interesting touch.
Yeah, the interesting thing is here, I think I was reading, this is the first time the characters are actually on the screen. I think
yes.
from you normally interact with whatever it is, but this one you're kind of interacting with the character, and then the character's doing whatever it is, which I think's new for the game, if that makes sense.
And in perfect WarioWare fashion, like just the art style is weirdly fantastic, as well as the games themselves. Like pulling the armpit hairs out of a Greek statue. I think it's just something funny about it.
Yeah, really looking forward to that.
Yeah, September 10th. So again, not too far out either. It's great to know that all of these, large majority are later this year, if not in the next month or two. Really looking forward to it. And it's the first time that there's also 2-player mini games as well, isn't there? Like at the same time.
Yeah.
Rather than passing a controller or whatever else.
What's coming up next? I can't actually remember what was next.
I can't. He's just clicked his fingers.
So
this is Shin Megami Tensei.
Okay, yeah.
Are you a fan of this, Luke?
Yes, I am. So I don't know how much people know about this series in general, but this is essentially what inspired Persona, the Persona line of games. So it's very similar.
It's set, is it set in the same sort of universe, Luke? Like Persona's a spin-off in the same universe of
essentially, yeah. So. But yeah, they're very cool games. I've not played many of them. I can't remember. I think I've played 3, if I remember. But they are cool, and I was quite impressed with this visually. I think for the Switch, I thought it looked quite nice. The frame rate and res was a bit low, but like the underlying assets rather are pretty good. Like it looks quite nice. It's the minute I saw it, I was like, oh man, this would really benefit from a Switch Pro. This is the type of game that would hugely benefit from that platform.
Yeah.
Because it's got everything there in the engine to look really good, but the res especially is just so low that yeah. But it looks really cool. I definitely advise trying it. If they release a demo or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I do love turn-based RPGs, so this kind of should be right up my street. It's just never been a series I've really dabbled in just yet. I assume it's not really one where you need to have played the previous games in the series to sort of jump in.
No, you can go in kind of blind and enjoy them. But yeah, cool game. Very, very highly. I mean, it was announced years ago. This I think maybe 2016. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. But it's looking good, and I just need to see a Switch Pro version of it because that will be a lot better.
So Mesky's just said in chat that Shin Megami Tensei 5 was their game of the show, surprisingly.
Nice. Yeah, looks nice. Looks very nice.
I'm afraid to say that I'm with Scott on this one. It's a game where I just, not for any particular reason, I've just never really jumped on the bandwagon due to maybe playing other stuff at the time, or and it passes you by and you forget about it. So, but unlike Scott, I'm not the biggest fan of turn-based RPGs either. So that's another reason that might put me off. But I really do love Octopath Traveler, so maybe that can help me get back into turn-based stuff. But time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing Yakuza Like a Dragon at the moment as well, which is kind of just it's getting me in the mood for that type of game a bit more as well. So hopefully I've completed Yakuza by the time November comes around when this game comes out, because it's that long. So would it be fair to say that Persona is sort of I guess become the more popular, at least in the West, of the two franchises, despite obviously Persona spinning off from that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd probably even actually in the East, Persona's become more popular now. Most certainly the West as well. I think part of that is because Persona's a lot more stylish than SMT is. It kind of Atlas really lean into that very metropolitan, crazy art style, crazy characters, and I think that's helped it kind of differentiate it massively actually from SMT, which is a bit more like it's not serious really, but it's a bit more serious, a bit more subdued compared to Persona, I would say. So yeah, but to be fair, if you like either one, you'll like the other. I mean, it would be weird if you didn't if you liked one and didn't like the other, because they're very similar. Other than that, so
Any
Danganronpa fans? I think I pronounced that correctly. I might not have done.
Yeah, I think so. Not yet. I've got a friend who sort of doesn't shut up about it, but I've never played one, so it's difficult.
Yeah. How about you, Luke?
Yeah.
Have you played these?
No. Again, I've not played a Danganronpa before, but always heard really good things, but just never got around to playing one.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Evening, Pyro M. Just seeing you in the chat. Thanks for joining us.
And Beta Gaming's here as well. Mesuko's in the chat.
Mesuko and Beta Gaming
a bit earlier as well.
Thank you all for being here. Sorry I've not been doing roll call as I usually do. Been making sure that I'm not stopping the video or turning anything off. Now, this was an interesting surprise. Yeah, Fatal Frame.
Fatal Frame. Yeah, I was quite excited by this. I love Fatal Frame. It's a really cool series. It's a horror game, so I instantly kind of...
Did you play the Wii U game?
No, I didn't. It was one of the only ones I haven't played, actually. The heyday for this was back on the PS2. I played a couple of those. But I didn't play the Wii U one. I can't remember why. Maybe because I didn't play much on the Wii U.
Because no one had a Wii U?
Yeah. Well, I had a Wii U, but I can't actually remember that much, like actually what I played on it. I was kind of Vietnam that out of my memory, I think. So, but this is really cool. And this is actually coming to everything they announced afterwards. So it's coming to Xbox and PlayStation as well, and PC, I think. I think it's really cool that they're continuing on with that, because it's a really cool series. It's a really cool series. This was so good. I love just seeing the effort that has gone into actually making this run. Yeah. But then the end result, which like taking nothing away from
it's good for a Switch, but
yeah, it is. It's great for a Switch, but it's just so. You think of Doom these days, visual showpiece, and then you see this version. And it's
N64 version, yeah.
It's still astounding, like genuinely astounding that they got this running at all. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
kind of hoping it's reasons like this which might hopefully push Nintendo to hopefully announce a Switch Pro soon. But then again, it kind of opens up a whole bucket of worms, doesn't it? About but you still have to support older hardware and the Switch Lite and stuff. So yeah, I find it. I don't really know what their approach would be to, like a better or more powerful system, I should say.
Yeah. Did anyone check out the? Yeah, I was just going to say, did anyone check out the remakes? So these are games that I put countless hours in my childhood, but I didn't end up picking the remake up. I listened to the soundtrack a lot on Spotify. It's the music's right on my street, but I didn't end up picking up the remake.
No, I'm in the same boat. Played all of it on PS1 days, but yeah, I haven't picked it up since. And was this a new reveal? This game here as well, because this is out. It was out the day of the show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been out for a while. This on other platforms, Strange Brigade.
There was a Strange Brigade on Game Pass that I ended up playing. I don't think it was this one, but there was a Strange Brigade on Game Pass a while back that I ended up checking out with friends.
Mario and Rabbids. So I didn't play the first one, even though it's been
pretty
cheap.
You should.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should.
Especially when it's like £7 or something.
Yeah, it's nothing now.
Yeah,
I've been constantly intrigued and wanting to jump in. I just never took that step. But when I saw this one, I was like, "Oh man, I've been missing out."
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Go on.
I was going to say, we saw this at the Ubisoft conference. Nintendo themselves actually leaked it ahead of the show, which was a bit unfortunate.
Yeah.
But we saw this at Ubisoft, but it was just great to see it again. I'm glad Nintendo still showed off again because it does look really good. The first game was a genuine sort of gem and a genuine surprise for me as well.
The DLC good as well? The Donkey Kong DLC?
Yeah.
I didn't actually play that, admittedly. I didn't play that.
No, the DLC was good as well. It was just more of the same, but brilliant. It was such a surprising game in terms of, just everything. I don't think anyone expected it to actually work, but it does, and it's fantastic. Yeah. So
I've just paused this as well because I'm going to play it now because I know we're all going to want to talk about this one, Advance Wars.
Yeah, very excited for this.
Yeah.
Very, very excited. If this can lead to a new Advance Wars in particular, then I hope it does. Because it's such a great series, and I like that they're doing, these it's the first and second game remade in obviously this new art style, which is a bit divisive for some. I can see why. I'm fine with it personally, but I'll definitely be picking this up because it's Advanced Wars is so good. People
seeing it again, seeing it again, Scott. Do you still feel the same way about the art style, or is it growing on you yet?
If anything, it's probably getting worse for us.
Oh no!
I'm still I am still super excited for this game. I am definitely going to pick it up. I love the original Advance Wars in particular. I do like sort of it's not all of the art style. It's specifically just the character models, like or the vehicle models in combat. I like the cuts that they do to the characters. I like the look of those. But it's just so jarring going from the original, which I love the original art style, and then seeing these plasticky toy like 3D models that they create. It's just I'll still play it because it will play fantastic. The art style doesn't change that. But I don't really know what they could have done differently though. I don't think they could have just released as it was again. And I'm not too sure how they could have done anything different to what they've done, really.
I feel like they could have. So there was a game on Switch that released. I think it released on other stuff as well, but I remember picking it up on Switch called Wargroove.
Yeah, I really like Wargroove.
Yeah, and I just think I'm just not sure why they didn't adopt a pixel art style for this. I don't know why they've gone, as you say, for the plastic toy soldier type look. Because I think it would lend itself really well to a pixel art style, and surely it would be somewhat less intensive on dev as well. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it just had this idea, someone that just ran with the idea. What if we make them like toy soldiers, basically?
I think depending on where you look as well. I mean, I'd argue a lot of forums online potentially argue that there's quite almost an oversaturation of pixel art games now. So I'm wondering if maybe something like that is made the decision let's maybe go 3D, but.
Yeah, but if you look at the original, that would be a better fit. I have seen some people make the argument online. It's this is like a full price game, but it's obviously a remaster of two old games, and some people made the argument that if they went for that older graphic style, that would maybe. I'm not necessarily saying this would be true, but maybe in some people's eyes, that art style wouldn't lend itself to a full price sort of 45, 50 quid game or whatever. So but if you haven't seen it and you like this game, check out Wargroove and look at that. I think in my opinion, that looks a hell of a lot better. But I'm still looking forward to it. And as Luke says, I really hope that this leads to a new game in the franchise if it does well.
And it's also great that it's 1 and 2 as we see on the screen. So double the package. And I think, what you said about prices there, I mean, let's not get into it now, I guess, but I know that's probably definitely something for debate later on, because I think the perception of how much things should cost based on what they look like and other such, it doesn't quite align with how the industry actually works, does it? So
no.
But maybe that's a topic for another time.
Yeah.
That feels like it could be quite deep otherwise. I can't remember what the next announcement is now. I won't move the mouse. I'll leave it as a surprise, unless you guys remember.
I remember.
I can't actually. I mean, we don't have too much time left, do we? So
this is the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, so it was the Zelda. So did anybody else hate how they handled the beginning of this? Or was it just me?
I was a little bit like, well, where is this going?
Yeah, it was like a double troll when they're talking about, because it's like, this is the last thing, and then they show off this, and then they show off the next thing, and it's like, then they finally show it. I was like, just show us the damn game we want to see.
I mean, was anyone else disappointed they didn't reveal a 35th collection or something of the like a Wind Waker plus Twilight Princess collection or something? Because I was quite disappointed when it didn't turn up. I was quite confident they might show something, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, a little bit, but I guess even if they were to show it, I don't think they want to cannibalize Skyward Sword.
That's a good point.
So I think they want to get that out of the way, and then they'll be much keener to talk about what will no doubt be coming at some point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Wind Waker plus what was the other one that was rumored? Was it
Twilight Princess?
Twilight Princess, yeah.
The interesting thing about that, though, Luke, is I'm pretty sure he specifically said we do not have any other Zelda games in development, which was a weird phrase considering how strong the rumors are regarding other remakes potentially coming. And I totally get your point around not wanting to sort of step on the toes of Skyward Sword. That's out is this month, isn't it?
Next month, July.
Next July, is it? Sorry. So they would maybe wait for that, but then to specifically say there aren't any other games in development, it would seem a bit weird if they said that now and then in August reveal Wind Waker coming out in November or whatever, because I imagine they'll want to get those games out ahead of Breath of the Wild 2's release in 2022.
Yeah, that's true. Although VGC were pretty adamant that there are two games coming, so I wonder if they're just not coming for the 35th anniversary. Like, the point is, it will follow after.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the way around it, isn't it? Because it's one of those things. Because I know we'll touch on Breath of the Wild 2 in a minute, but if Breath of the Wild is later 2022.
Yeah, you'd think they'd have something to bridge a gap between then, and the 2022 element of Breath of the Wild is not guaranteed in any case. So
what I find interesting as well, I think it was revealed through like internal documents in the past through Nintendo about how Nintendo had a plan or have a plan that they're implementing, that each year will be a Zelda title. Like, so release year 2017 was Breath of the Wild, and then the year after that was Hyrule Warriors, I believe, and then after that was Link's Awakening, and then I think this year last year it was what was just shown. What's it called again? the new Hyrule Warriors.
Hyrule Warriors, yes.
Oh yeah,
because this is like the sequel or something, isn't it? This one. Because there was a remake of the Wii U version. That was it. That came out in 2018.
Age of Calamity.
That's the one. And Age of Calamity then came out last year. Skyward Sword this year. Do you get what I mean? So maybe they're holding off to follow that release schedule. Maybe. Oh, who knows?
Yeah,
but it's Nintendo at the end of the day.
Yeah, because I guess if they reveal and show something for maybe early 2022 with Breath of the Wild aiming for late 2022, then I guess once they're out of 2021, they could say it's no longer for the 35th anniversary, I guess, at that point, maybe. So,
anyone picking this up, by the way, Skyward Sword? This is a day one for me. Well, it's not, because I'm getting married a few days before and I won't be able to get it. But it's near enough a day one.
not for me, unfortunately.
I'll get it. Of course, I'll get it.
Well, eventually? Is that an eventually?
No, I'll get it. I'll probably get it day one.
I told you, Luke, you're part of the problem, mate.
Yeah, well, I don't care.
I think for me, the main thing is obviously this was a game that's primarily designed for motion controls on the Wii. As I stated earlier on, I don't like motion controls, I'm not keen on the implementation of how they've adapted that to dual joysticks. I think this is a game that was primarily designed for motion controls in mind, and that's how it'll be best played. And because I don't like that style of controls, it's not a game I'll pick up.
Any thoughts on the Game & Watch? I mean, this was all basically the homage to 35th anniversary, isn't it? With Zelda's 1, 2, and the original Link's Awakening on the system.
Yeah, I mean, they're cool little trinkets, but
ends up in your drawer, right?
It just it ends up in your drawer, and you don't touch them, and that I think that's the issue with them.
I find it interesting they put Link's Awakening rather than maybe trying to beef up the system a bit and maybe and putting Link to the Past or something on there, because with today's tech that is easily doable. So why they didn't put that on is beyond me.
Probably because they're going to try and resell you that at another point.
There'll be Legend of Zelda Game & Watch 2.
Yeah.
Yes,
and that will have,
no doubt.
And people will flock to the shops to get it, mate. So I think it's one of those things that's cool. I would love to have it, but like I would never use it. I couldn't justify purchasing. I don't know how expensive they are. I can't imagine they're too expensive. Maybe how much was the last one that they released for?
It's about 50 quid, I think.
Yes, it's not massively expensive, but yeah, as you say, it's kind of like I get it, I look at it, think, oh, that's cool, and then never touch it again. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up to the final trailer. I think we was all waiting for.
Yeah.
Was we happy with the trailer before it actually shows? By the way.
Yeah.
Or was you expecting more?
No, I was happy with it. I think it reminded me, this trailer, I mean, there's more of it, but it reminded me of the Starfield situation, which is where I think there were some rumblings about Breath of the Wild 2 that it might come out this year. Towards the end, like Starfield, but in reality, these games are really far away. So the trailer in that context is actually quite meaty, because you think, well, there's actually, they've actually shown quite a lot here for a game that's penciled in for 2022. It's not even like a Starfield where they're like, no, this is our date.
Yeah, they specifically said aiming for 2022, which is why I'm thinking if it is 2022, it's late, and there's a good chance it slips as well. So I think you make a really good point in saying this is, it contains gameplay. It is quite meaty for a game. Compare it, if you think that these games are likely this and Starfield are likely to release at a similar time at best. If you compare the two trailers that we got from Xbox on the Sunday and then Nintendo, there's so much more to go off for this trailer compared to what Starfield showed.
And it was go on. No, go ahead. No, it was just a real surprise as well when it opened up and falling from the sky. That was really I love that, and it was just not expected at all. I don't think anybody expected that's the direction they'd go with the sequel, especially from the initial teaser, because it seemed like it might be more underground than anything. So for them to have expanded it, obviously it harkens back to Skyward Sword as well, which is quite a nice little link. But yeah, I just thought it was a really lovely trailer. It's really interesting they didn't show the face of.
There's been rumblings about this online, haven't there? Yeah. Because what do we think of the long hair and stuff? That's why I stopped the video at this point. But
it's weird, isn't it? Like
I've seen rumblings of people thinking that because he's got obviously the arm now, and he's like this part right here when he pushes these things away, people are wondering if there's some sort of like time traveling effect, and there with the raindrop, like a time traveling effect, and maybe it is almost directly linked with Skyward Sword, and maybe there's time traveling, and that's why the floating islands are there. But Who knows?
It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. It just looks so, like these bits in particular, it just looks so dark. And I'm all for it when Zelda gets dark.
Yeah.
When we go into Majora's Mask territory, I'm all for that.
I know everyone loves Ocarina of Time, but I much preferred Majora's Mask for the darker themes. I love that game so much.
Yeah. So, look, I mean, it looks fantastic. I mean, the first one is, to my mind, one of the greatest games ever made to this day.
100%. Yeah.
So if they can capture that magic again, which is very difficult because it will invariably draw comparisons to the first one. It's not a separate Zelda per se, thematically or in terms of setting, etc. We're still in Hyrule. Obviously, there's the sky stuff now, which is cool. The landscape will no doubt be somewhat changed by the game. But if they can nail it again, then kudos, because they're following up a ridiculous task, really. So,
yeah. Have you guys seen the comments from Bill Trinan from Nintendo Treehouse that came out, I think, earlier this morning?
Is this about the name?
No, this is mainly about like the gameplay, because I think a lot of people are basically likening this to Majora's Mask. I'm wondering if this is basically going to be the underling of Breath of the Wild. But Bill Trinan has actually openly come up on Twitter and said that, like, we will reveal more in a few months' time and the coming months, up till launch. But he's basically said that once you see the details of what this game's about, you will see and understand that it is its own game and it on its own standing. So for me, that's really pushing the bar really high.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I didn't see those comments. I think, Luke, you touched on sort of the comments around the name as well. I mean, that's obviously, we know it's not going to be called Breath of the Wild 2. It'll be interesting to see what they end up calling it. I wonder if they just haven't decided, because I wonder if maybe this would be the time to reveal it if they knew it. But
apparently they do know it. They have the name, but the comments today were that they don't want to reveal the name yet because it will give some hints about plot.
Okay.
And they're not ready for that to be shared with people. So they've got the name. They could drop that at any time, but they just don't want to yet, which explains. Because as you say, like at the end of this trailer, I was like, well, surely, why don't we have a name in the second trailer for this game? Like, why don't we have that? And so that's the explanation, apparently, from Nintendo.
That's fair. And then, obviously, I think at the very end is when they dropped the 2022, and then I guess just as we said, they've said we're aiming for 2022, and it's it does sound like Nintendo have maybe been hit by the pandemic as much as any other developer, maybe worse thing, because I imagine this game was intended to be out this year, or at least early next year, possibly. Obviously, that's pure speculation, but obviously, had we not had 18 months of the pandemic, and I think maybe something to consider as well is Japan. I think at least very recently, or now, I believe, is in sort of going through a bit of a new wave of.
They're going through like kind of a shutdown again, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm not too sure how well their vaccination rollout is going, and so I think they're obviously very strict with what they're doing, but it does sound like they're maybe still being hit more so than maybe UK based developers, for example, who we've obviously had quite a successful vaccine rollout that's allowed things to more or less return to normal from a work perspective, I guess. I'm not too sure Japan's in the same position, so it's going to be interesting. They've obviously said we're aiming, so they've been transparent enough with it. I hope it does hit next year, because if it does, 2022 is going to be absolutely bloody
a year
bonkers
for gaming.
And 2023 probably is going to be just as good, if not better. The next couple of years are going to be ridiculous from all three of the platform holders. So so obviously this was highlight the show, I guess. If anything, just seeing it again, seeing you, I guess, hints as to what it is, as Luke touched on, seeing more of the area, the map. Obviously, the original trailer sort of hinted it was going to be more underground, and then just opening up with that. I know people made the meme of Zelda Battle Royale because it comes down flying in. It was a really cool opening shot. So I'm super excited to see more.
That's cool. And then and with that, we've reached the end of end of the showcase, and I know we're coming up to time, but if you guys are happy to hang on for a few more minutes, I think the last thing I was just going to bring up was there anything that obviously wasn't on show that we were expecting to see? I think one of the big ones that I'm aware of is Bayonetta 3, which again is another year with another no show, and it's got a lot of people concerned about the development, because I think I believe the CEO of Platinum Games, is that right?
Yeah.
I think he's come out quite recently to say that don't worry, development's still going quite smooth and all those kind of comments, but then apparently he's been saying this for quite a few months and years now, and we've still heard and seen nothing of it. So, well, apart from Bayonetta 3, any other games as well you guys thought we would see? But by all means, comment on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, for Bayonetta, I really did expect to see it this year. I mean, it was announced in 2017.
Yeah.
And since then, we've literally seen nothing. I mean, there's been nothing on it. Hideki Kamiya, who is the director, as you say, he said a lot of times, look, development's, it's proceeding smoothly, it's fine. But there's only so long that you can take that, at face value and say, well, okay, because if a game is announced in 2017, let's assume in 2017 they had literally nothing other than a logo and a CG trailer, then by now you would surely see something after you've had 4 years of dev. So it's quite weird. There were some rumblings that it may have been rebooted at some point, so that it's actually on its effectively its second iteration now.
Right. Okay.
Which is possible. It's possible that they're waiting for something like a Switch Pro to show it off. Possible, unlikely, I suppose. Obviously, COVID has impacted, as Scott said, Japanese developers a lot more. That's happened across the board for various cultural and logistical reasons. That's kind of disproportionately affected Japanese development. So, but I'm not sure. I was just really surprised because I really did think, okay, this is about time to see it, and we saw nothing. So who knows?
I think just on that, look, I don't know what you thought of Babylon's Fall, which is obviously another Platinum game, which was shown off at the Ubisoft conference, and obviously we're not talking not Ubisoft, Square, apologies. Which I think from what I saw, the brief bits that I saw and some of the commentary I've seen around that didn't exactly blow people away. And then I know that I've read things on the internet. I know that's a dangerous thing to do, but and people have commented like, what's going on at Platinum? We've heard nothing on Bayonetta 3. Obviously, Babylon's Fall was announced a while back, and then it was shown again this year, and it looked pretty rough in a lot of people's eyes. So I think it probably is maybe a combination of all of that, Luke. It's maybe restarted development at some point. Then that's been impacted by the pandemic. It's just interesting that there was no commentary on it at all, because when Metroid went through its, Prime went through, restart and development, Nintendo specifically came out and addressed it because they know that people are eagerly awaiting more information. And obviously this isn't necessarily as big as Prime 4, but still it's interesting that they haven't even acknowledged it, Maybe that's just part of it. It's just like, look, we've got nothing to show, so we're going to keep stum.
Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, Babylon's Fall looked dreadful after looking quite promising a few years ago. They changed the art style a little bit, and then they made it a 4-player co-op service game, which doesn't doesn't go down well. Platinum have been doing a lot of different things. They've had a lot of projects on. But the thing about Platinum is that they're very inconsistent. So their highs are super high. Like they make some incredible games, and then they can turn around and make some really mediocre ones as well. So they're kind of all over the place sometimes. I just wonder if they, in the last year or two, they've just, or longer maybe, bitten off more than they can chew in terms of the amount of projects they're trying to juggle. And, then they've had other development impacts, and maybe Bayonetta wasn't going that well, so they rebooted it, and there's all that stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I just hope that we do see something on it soonish, because it would just be nice, because it's I love the series, and Platinum, when they make those types of games, tend to nail them. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, and then I think in terms of other things that maybe didn't show, I was maybe hoping to see a little bit more of Splatoon, possibly. Obviously, they did only sort of announce that fairly recently, so I guess it's not too much of a surprise, especially with it being a 2022 game. But beyond that, I'm not too sure there was too much that I was expecting that was missing, to be honest.
I think the only thing I can add is that there was a lot of rumors prior about a potential 3D Donkey Kong return. A proper 3D Kirby was also rumored, as well as a brand new or updated Mario Kart, quote unquote Mario Kart 9.
That's never coming, that, man. Nah. It's Mario Kart 8 is still kind of week on week one of the best selling games.
It's crazy.
It's outrageous. I don't think there's any reason for them to do so, considering how popular that game is.
Well, you say that, but I think for the more hardcore, dedicated fans, dare I say, who maybe got it at launch or very early on, I think it has kind of had its moment, at least for me. I mean, I enjoy the game. I'd happily go back to it, but I personally am at a point where I feel like I am ready for a new Mario Kart. But I appreciate what you're saying. This thing has sold like hotcakes ever since launch, right back at the beginning of the Switch lifetime. So, yeah, it could well be a long time. Sorry, Scott, go on.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think, I'm probably in the same position. I'm just more thinking, I can't see any reason for Nintendo to do it. I think they'd maybe rather have that team working on something new as it continues, to sell outrageously well. It's not something that sort of loads millions of copies out the gate. It's a game that's continues to, sell year on year, 5 years after release, or 4 years, however long it is now. So, it is an interesting one, because kind of like, you got to remember, this wasn't even a new Mario Kart in itself. It was just was just a re-release of the Wii U version that didn't sell very well because of the smaller install base. So yeah, I would love to see one, Pucks. I just honestly don't see one for years, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, as you say, I mean, with that reason as well, as you say, like Legend of Zelda coming out soon, coming out next year or relatively soon. Splatoon 3 as well. There's quite some big stuff in the background of Nintendo headquarters going on. So fingers crossed we'll see something soon. But if there's nothing else, gents, then I think I'm going to wrap it up there.
Cool.
So unless you do have anything else you'd like to add, otherwise I will start wrapping up.
I think it's dinner time for me. I'm getting hungry.
That's right. No worries at all. Well, thank you, panel, for joining me today. I know we've said for a while that we love all speaking Nintendo. We love talking about stuff other than Xbox. Even though, yes, we are an Xbox-centric channel, we like to have these small moments where we discuss other platforms. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I certainly have. It's been great watching this again. And hopefully you in the chat as well have enjoyed this along with us. Yes, this is something a bit different, but something that hopefully in the weeks and months in the future you'll be seeing more of us midweek doing various other content alongside our weekly Sunday podcasts. I said this at the beginning as well, but I will repeat for benefit of people coming in later on the stream. So GPG as a channel are moving back to StreamYard as opposed to using OBS, because we felt it enabled all of us in our various locations to be able to create consistently, hopefully consistently good content of each of our own choosing in the future, so you can all enjoy it. I know that there's definitely plans in the background for a potential future show which may just feature Scott solo, or Scott and Luke, or the three of us as we are today. Obviously you'll see the four of us in our Sunday podcast and future midweek shows, but long story short, we do have plans to give you more content, and with varying members of the GPG crew as well. So you can all look forward to that. And I think that's it, gents. So I'll wrap it up there. Thank you all very much for joining. I will do the outro, and we shall see you on our Sunday podcast.